A last alliance of men and dwarves have come to rid Middle-earth of Sauron and his evil. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back to some more Total War Rise of Mordor. Today we're going to be going ahead and be playing the Battle of the Black Gate, but the elves have not arrived this day. We are mainly going to be fighting with humans and dwarves, ready to rid ourselves of the evil of Middle-earth. We also have a very cool mod. We are using the Gladrian Elf mod, but we are mainly using that for our big boy himself, Sauron, who is going to be leading the forces of evil. He definitely looks very intimidating, but he will fall, you know, along with the rest of evil if the forces of good can claim their victory. Obviously, the Mordor faction is going to be racked to the teeth with Moria orcs and also orcs, so they're going to be looking very strong in this battle, and it's going to be a very hard engagement for the forces of good to actually break through this pretty strong defense. Obviously, the Black Gate itself providing a great choke point for them to funnel in the dwarfs and the humans and allowing their archers just to cause havoc. The artillery is going to kick this bad boy off, and hopefully you guys can see everything okay. Obviously, the battle itself is pretty dark, us being, you know, obviously in the lands of evil. They're going to be you know, dampening the sky, providing themselves with, you know, extra boosts and blocking out the sunlight after all. The artillery, come on, I can see the infantry line charging forward, but I want to see this artillery strike. Come on, shoot already. And if you guys are obviously enjoying this, be sure to go ahead and drop a like and a comment down below. Let me know that you want to see more of these custom scenario battles. This one's obviously around about 50 minutes. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. Not a bad bombardment right there. Yeah, really good bombardment actually. Holy crap, that hit some pretty valuable units. And then obviously we have the front line. So I would imagine, yeah, they are simply just throwing forward some orc warriors. Actually, orc warriors aren't bad. They're like, you know, they're not throwaway units like the orc rabble, but they're not very elite. So I'm surprised they actually kind of committed some, I say relatively good for low-level orcs. But the Gondorians are going to be meeting them with their Gondor militias, so they're kind of meeting awful with awful there. And on the Dwarven side, the Dwarves have, you know, obviously they don't really have access to as much as, say, the Gondorians do when it comes to low-quality troops. So they are bringing forward just a pretty nice unit maximum. Okay, I just went ahead and upgraded the gamma on the battle itself, so hopefully you guys can see things a little bit better. It's going to take a bit more of a colour out. We can see a lot when the artillery shoots. From there at least. Yeah, oh my god, look at that lighting. Can't we just be like this the entire time? I guess maybe we've got the light shining down from Mount Doom in the distance. I'll make sure I just keep on doing this. So hopefully you guys can see it a lot better. Mordor is not very well lit, unfortunately. We need a lot more. I mean, if we look from into the volcano, it's all good, but as soon as we look away from it, yeah, the lighting does seem to go away. So for the most part, it does seem like the front line has been pretty easily demolished for the forces of good, and now they're moving up their crossbows into range of the orc front line, which is going to be pretty devastating. They are committing as well a front line of infantry to help, you know, just protect their front line and protect their archers just behind our crossbows. And now the Gondorians are moving in, looking just to finish up the last of these orc warriors so they can again advance forward their archers. And oh my god, there's a lot of arrow fire coming in on this poor unit of orc warriors, just getting absolutely decimated from the Gondorian archer line. Is that the same voice actor as Cole Franz? It is, right? That sounds exactly like Cole Franz. I didn't realise I guess it is. It's the Roman general. Because I'm pretty sure they're just the Roman voices. So we have artillery fire going back and forth, but the Dwarven artillery is really racking up some pretty serious damage in this battle. You can also see that Mordor have set up, you know, multiple defenses. So if this Black Gate defense does fail, they have a nice cavalry contingent all the way over on this right-hand side, ready to pounce on the open fields of Mordor. So some Haradrim are going to be pouring in, and then they obviously also have a pretty big contingent of infantry as well in reserve, so they're definitely not messing around. The Dwarven crossbows have made their way forward though. Oh wow, this one orc warrior is diving in now and finding his yeah, maker right there. Oh my god, look how many crossbow bolts he has in his head. It's like 4. So not a bad strategy here by the Dwarven player, bringing forward his missiles so they can basically just soften up the entire front line. However, the players who are going to be defending, the evil players, are not going to let this one slide as the artillery comes in once again. And they're going to be pushing forward their own infantry to try and, at least do something about this, whether it's making them retreat back or making them take a few more casualties. And it does seem like for the most part, these Orc warriors are going to get a good charge off with the artillery covering them. Even though the artillery just killed so many of their own friendly units. That one was a nice hit though. And we're getting some of the Dwarven escort merchant cavalry coming in. So these crossbows seemingly aren't really shooting right now. Aren't really moving. They're just sitting here and taking this. And the artillery is fighting some pretty decent damage. Over on the Gondorian side of things though, definitely their archers are unleashing hell on this front line for Mordor. Luckily, they do have some pretty decent units here. Obviously, the Uruk spears are very heavily armored. And the Dwarven cavalry is charging in there. Trying to do something. But I can't imagine they're going to be too successful. And yeah, they're going to get cut down. That was a brave move. I don't really know what the thinking behind that was. But they decided for Wrath for Ruin in the World's End. The artillery for the forces of good are definitely racking up the kills right now, though. They've softened up a large portion of the battle line. The dwarves are getting hammered by this artillery. They're very clumped up and they're kind of being punished because of it. But I mean, I'm sure they're getting just as much damage off on their opponents, and that's kind of the main thing, right? As long as they're racking up kills and exchanging it, and also absorbing artillery fire, that's really the main thing. It seems like for the most part, the dwarves are going to be advancing forward 2 more battalions of infantry. Well, another pretty good artillery strike right there. And for now, it's just mainly the archers shooting out, trying to soften up as much as they can. The forces of good are heavily outnumbered as well, by the way. If we take a look at the balance of power, you can see the forces of good only have 6,000 soldiers, whereas the forces of evil had 14,000 at the beginning of this battle. They have since lost 2,000, which is pretty crazy considering they've lost basically 2,000 soldiers, or over 2,000 soldiers, whereas the forces of good have only lost like 300 men right now, which is kind of wild. It seems like they're definitely getting a good entry point into this position, and if they can breach the Black Gate, I think things will be going very, very well for them as more and more artillery comes into the battle for both sides. And obviously the dwarves are going to be looking just to punch their way a hole through any of these positions. But more reinforcements are being sent up to try and make that happen. There's also some really good axemen back here as well. The Orc pillagers are a very, very deadly unit, especially against a faction like the dwarves who are so heavily armored. They do some really good damage. The Gondorians have now pushed in as well, looking to follow up on the dwarven assault. Charging in themselves. There's a lot of arrow fire going in, and you can see all the arrow fire is just trained on them halberds behind. It might be a good idea simply just to commit the halberds into combat, because if they're in combat, then at least some of the arrows will be finding friendly targets. Because right now the Gondorian missile fire is coming in, and have they managed to rout them yet? No, not quite yet, but I imagine their numbers are very, very low if we can hover over them. Oh yeah, they've lost over 100 orcs so far in that unit. I think this unit has a bit more of a better idea. No, these are just normal orc spears. I imagine the orc spears will be doing a little bit better on the front line. Very cool kill animation right there. We are using, of course, the Return to Glory mod, which you can find on the workshop. Adds in a ton more animations, and they tend to use it basically in every one of these battles. So if you're ever like, oh, I've never seen that animation before, that'll be why. It adds in some really nice stuff for multiple unit types, which is very, very cool. So how are we looking? How are we looking on this front line? Seems like Gondor are actually being repelled right here, and we have some, pretty strong orc pillagers maybe looking to make their way forward. Obviously, Gondor have, a lot more reserves ready to be committed, and I think that's exactly what they're doing. But, as we saw at the beginning of the battle, the forces of good are so heavily outnumbered that they just need to try and wear down the attackers until they just run out of steam, because eventually they won't have enough men to, keep up this assault. Whereas Mordor have so many orcs they can just constantly keep throwing and plugging gaps. So it's going to be very, very important that, you know, the forces of good make a breach sometime soon, and it's very important for the orcs not to let that happen. They want to try and keep this battle here for as long as possible, but I say that it's also going to be pretty deadly when the forces of good break their way through the Black Gate, and then they open up, you know, they're going to be attacked on 3 sides. So it's going to be really, I'm really looking forward to that when if they actually do break through this position, because yeah, they're going to be assaulted. They're heavy infantry from this side, a massive cavalry charge. Sauron leading the charge outside of Barad-dûr. Barad-dûr is this one, right? Yeah, and it's Minas Morgul. There we go. Gondorian infantry is routing from the field. I mean, they are just sword militia, but still, that, you know, that is valuable soldiers that you don't want to be seen taken out. And the artillery is coming in once again. Definitely does not distinguish between friend and foe. Oh no, that one actually getting a really nice hit there on the infantry. Yeah, the artillery has been brutal so far. We've also now got some escort merchant infantry. So these are going to be like soldiers from Dale that have come to fight for the Dwarven cause. Dwarven coin has bought them. And that's just going to add kind of a little bit more strength to the Dwarven roster. Some more interesting units because they just don't have that much. I'm going to be very interested to see how many kills these archers get by the end of this battle as well, because they are firing pretty insane at the moment. They are currently duking it out with the Uruk bowmen as well, who are now falling back. I'm not sure if the order has been given to fall back yet. I don't think so, because it seems like the orcs have committed everything they want to right now. They're throwing a couple more units of infantry and archers over to this other side, I guess to help protect this little outpost that's kind of situated here. Another artillery volley. I mean, that's just insane. Look at that. It's like the 4th of July, and they're doing some serious damage to these Uruk archers. How much ammunition does that artillery have left? Where even is it? Oh, you've got a supply wagon here. That's brutal. That really is. Very brutal. Are they allowed to bring a supply wagon? That seems, yeah, very, very strong. I'm sure they set up rules because they always create some pretty epic battles. And I also want to give them a massive shout out as the forces of good push against the evil line. A massive shout out to the guys who played this battle. I really appreciate it, and definitely keep these battles coming. I think I have one more replay left from the scenario that we've been doing. So be sure to keep an eye out for that as the battle does continue. So they do have some Uruk pikes up in here along with the Orc pillagers, which are going to be, I believe, like holding the dwarves at bay for some time. I think the break is going to come on the Gondorian front because it seems like their numbers are a lot thinner, and the Fountain Guard are going to be here as well. So the Fountain Guard are going to be offering some pike support for the Gondorians, and they also obviously have their heavy infantry in there as well, aiding. So yeah, I think this will probably be where the breach does occur, and that will allow the Gondorians to break through. You can see some of the vassal Haradrim running from the field. And there's already some pretty, big breaks. Yeah, Uruk Spearmen breaking. The Orc Pikes, I imagine, will be next. And that's going to open up a huge gap in the battle line, allowing the forces of good just to, smash through it. Seems like the dwarves are pulling back a little bit. Maybe seeing the Gondorians breaking through. Or maybe, actually, that's actually a pretty smart move. Pulling back infantry, allowing your crossbows just to shoot. It's a pretty smart idea, obviously. The crossbows will rip them apart very, very quickly, because that's like 6 units of crossbows. They will demolish everything here. They can also shoot this Uruk throng in the side as well. The Gondorians right now holding their discipline, not wanting to break through and kind of leave themselves vulnerable. We're just going to hold this battle line for now. Some Gondorian positions are now going to be advancing, but there is a lot of other units here, so they need to be kind of somewhat careful, somewhat safe. They don't want to find themselves getting completely enveloped already. We do have a unit of vassal Haradrim Lancers, though, coming over. I imagine going to be trying to hit maybe this Fountain Guard in the side before their pikes are down. Trying to bring them down is not a bad idea. And I mean, really, that's kind of where Mordor have to use this cavalry. It's in this open plain on pockets of resistance that kind of, break and then they kind of push forward. You know, right now, this would be a perfect cavalry charge if they could hook it up right into the back of his Fountain Guard. If they see that, then it's going to be brutal. And right now, the center is going to completely collapse for Mordor. As soon as this unit of Uruk-Throng break, that's going to open up once again another huge position. Also, I imagine all these crossbows are going to be shooting this cavalry as well. Are they just going to try and break through the gap? Or no, they're lining up. They're lining up for that charge against the Fountain Guard. But they are taking a lot of crossbow fire right now. No, they're charging it over here. I mean, it looks like they're just going to try and break through the Dwarven line and then pull through and charge off some crossbows. But we do have the Grim Hammers, the elite Dwarven dual-wielding hammers. Not dual-wielding, but two-handed hammers. Going to be pretty dense and able to hold them back. They obviously also have that beautiful golden trim that they got down at Balrog. I can't wait to see more of these Dwarven units. It's going to be so awesome when we do finally get, you know, a couple more. Because Dwarves are definitely my favourite faction. So it'd be great when they ever, you know, when they do get a bit more loving. Which I don't think is going to be that far away. I think it's like finishing off more units of Mordor. And Rohan is kind of... Rohan and maybe like Rohan and the Easterlings, they're looking to fill out more units next. And then I imagine the Dwarves won't be too far away. And maybe we'll get a few more units here and there. Because we've got a few more weapon assets now and again. Oh, a great cavalry charge there off onto this kind of depleted unit of axes. But immediately they're going to take about 7 million crossbow shots. No, they're not. The crossbows are reforming. Oh well, the Gondorian cavalry is going to come in and I'm sure be enough to clear off some southern lancers. Obviously the lancers having the charge advantage, but the Gondorian cavalry proving its worth in a more prolonged engagement with their heavier armor. And there we have it. It seems like for the most part the battle for the Black Gate has been lost from Mordor. And now there's the battle for Mordor itself. They are on the plains. The rocky, acidy plains of Mordor are now going to be fought over. The York line being advanced right there. Sauron himself is commanding this battle. And the balance of power is now pretty even, I would say. Forces of Good down to 5,000 men. And Forces of Evil dropping very quickly, almost below 8,000. So it's going to be a very, very, very interesting engagement, that's for sure. They still have some artillery left remaining. They have these choke points, so I definitely would not count them out yet. But let's skip ahead. Oh, actually, are we going to skip ahead? Because there seems like there's a pretty big cavalry movement. And this is kind of why you need at least 1 or 2 units of archers over here. Because these archers could be hammering away this Gondorian cavalry and, you know, taking away a big advantage of them. But unfortunately, they committed all their archers elsewhere, which I'm sure will come back to help them later on in the battle. But it would definitely be nice to hit these, you know, these Gondorian horses whilst they're roaming around the battlefield and just kind of, you know, prevents them from doing anything crazy. Wait, why all these... Did the Southern Lancers knock down all this Orc infantry? That's hilarious. So let's jump ahead like... I don't know. Okay, no, we'll stay with it. I was going to say, whilst it's moving, we'll jump ahead. But I think we'll stick around here because there's a lot of cavalry movements. The Gondorian cavalry is going to collide with the Southern Lancers. It seems like the Orcs are going to be trying to move up with a huge... I'm glad I didn't jump ahead any time. Yeah, the Southern Lancers are pounding in, and it looks like the Orcs are going to be charging forward. A great charge there into that unit of Erebor axes. The Erebor axes, though, not actually taking like many casualties, losing 1 dwarf to that charge. Man, that's pretty impressive. The rest of the spear guard of Erebor forming up a nice tight square formation to keep them at bay, and the rest of the Gondorians and dwarfs just committing kind of their weakened units here to this fight as the Orcs fly forward. And it seems like the vassal lancers are getting smashed away. A good rear charge here by the Orc pillagers into the back of these Erebor axe warriors. That's going to be proving them pretty valuable, as they can get that great armor piercing with that huge axe. And that's going to be very useful at taking down the dwarfs. Fountain Guard are going to be surrounded right now. But I mean, there's still a handful of Gondorians left to move up. I mean, to be fair though, the main strength of the Dwarven battle line right now is coming from them 6 units of crossbows on top of their artillery right now. So I really feel like it's, you know, imperative if they have any free spare cavalry to just try and break through, but it seems like all the Mordor cavalry is committed right now, which is super unfortunate. I mean, not like it would be easy to break through this. But yeah, these crossbows are going to be a pain for sure for them to deal with. And they are trading some pretty good blows, taking out some of these weaker units of Grimhammers and Axe Guard. You know, any Axe Guard you can remove from the field is going to be beneficial. Every Swan Knight as well you take down is going to be invaluable because these bad boys are expensive. I think they come up at around about like 1700 gold, I think. Which is like 2-3 units of infantry for like Gondor. Whereas for the orcs, you probably get like 5 units of infantry for 1 unit of Swan Knight. So you definitely want to try and kill them whenever you get the opportunity to. And man, if there's any artillery, that was disgusting. If there's any artillery, if this is in range... Oh, I don't think it is, but oh my god, it'd be so nice to be hitting this massive clump of crossbows right now. That'd be really, really valuable. So right now, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. Do they just pile in and try and kill Sauron? Or do they move over to that right-hand side and try and, you know, take and secure that camp? It seems like, for the most part, the crossbows are heading over towards that camp, looking to make good use of their missile superiority and break that down, whilst the rest of the fighting is still, you know, ongoing in the center, but I can't imagine it will be for much longer. You can see the Gondorian cavalry coming around, and I'm sure they're immediately just going to charge straight into the backs of these orc warriors, sending them flying. Yeah, that heavy cavalry is brutal and breaking them any second now. And that's going to allow the rest of the forces to come up. We've got a few kind of smaller contingents, but that's about it. So now let's jump ahead until the next part of the battle does start. Okay, so it seems like the dwarves have been tasked with taking out this orc camp to the left-hand side. And the Gondorians are going to be the ones who are going to be trying to break Sauron himself. I imagine opening up into this pit of death, which is basically all I can call it. They're going to be having, you know, a hard time doing so until the dwarves can clear out this position. There is also a handful of archers in a very good position here, ready to hit away on the dwarven advance. I imagine they're going to be taking a lot of casualties when it comes to these crossbows. Yeah, these archers are going to be doing some serious damage to them because they're just in such a good position, and having this high elevation is just going to be racking up kill after kill onto the dwarven crossbows. Because they can shoot very, very quickly as well, and I'm imagining their numbers are going to be dropping. But for the most part, the crossbows for the dwarves are doing some great damage. And here we go. Seems like the cavalry charge is going to be up here first, looking to try and break and make any disruption that they can into the Uruk line. These are Uruk Throng though, so it's not like they're going to be going down without a fight, and they should be able to repel this quite nicely. But I always love it when players do this because it's a pretty good way to break up the formations. Obviously, you want to be saving your valuable cavalry, but when you have the cavalry advantage like they do now, they can definitely get away with this. And oh my god, look at that bombardment! Holy crap, there is so much artillery coming in. That's absolutely insane, man. That was like 15 shots right there. I imagine the Dwarven artillery and the Gondorian artillery is grouping up, and that's going to be very, very useful indeed. I wonder if Sauron is going to charge out as well. I mean, right now, the Gondorian cavalry charge is doing a very good job. I mean, not so much on his left-hand side, but the Swan Knights are obviously doing a very good job. However, they need to be very careful not to get onto these orc pikes, because if the orc pikes can, you know, get into range of these guys with their long halberds, they're going to be able to take them down pretty quickly. But I mean, for the most part, this cavalry is doing a great job on the front line, and it's softened up the entire assault for them to move forward. Oh my god, oh, that's a bad artillery shot. Come on, shoot artillery. They're so clumped up. This is where the orc artillery needs to start firing, because they are in such a good position right now. Any direct hits here would get hundreds of kills. Doesn't seem like, though, they're still... here we go. Yeah, if they get any good shots off now... Oh, baby. Oh, baby! Yeah, that was insane. That was a really good shot. Killing so much of this Gondor spear militia. I mean, look at the fire just burning. And now the infantry are going to be up here to help support the cavalry. That was a very, very nice shot there by the orcs. How are the dwarves faring? So the dwarves are breaking forward, but they are running into this choke point right now. And the Uruk archers are having an absolute field day shooting away at these guys. Yeah, and I think the dwarves are going to realize that they're not really going to break through this right now. They need to maybe fall back, use their missile superiority that they have. So I definitely like the idea of them filling back. They're going to take a few more casualties as they do pull back, but I'm sure it will be worth it. Oh, we all actually do have an orc advance right here as well. I mean, seeing probably that they didn't want to get shot to pieces, they did decide to actually push out. And I mean, the dwarfs don't really have that much infantry to really stop them. The dwarfs mainly just have crossbows left. So if the orcs can maybe win some decisive positions right here, they might be able to do some pretty gnarly stuff. Does seem like the Gondorian front line though is completely committed now. Balance of power is looking favourable to the forces of good, but I think they're now going to be struggling a little bit. Now that they've kind of committed everything, they don't really have a clear open field to commit. They're kind of just shoved into choke points where they can get shot at. Is Sauron himself? Oh, Sauron is in as well. Let's see Sauron fighting. It's so funny as well, seeing these, because like the way combat works in Attila, they kind of it's locked combat, so it's match combat even. There we go. So like the entity, which is Sauron, has to find another entity. So instead of like knocking away hundreds of people, oh, is Aragorn there as well? I didn't even see him. Aragorn and Sauron, that's awesome. Even though Aragorn has just dived into combat. So yeah, like all these hero characters, it's not like Warhammer where they can just smash away hundreds of people. They kind of almost have to lock up with another entity. And obviously this is the Galadriel elf mod that does this. This isn't Rise of Mordor. So I'm sure when Rise of Mordor come to doing interesting characters like this, they will find a unique way to make them work it in the Attila combat. Whether it's making them not really abide by the lock combat animations, or if it's like making Sauron like an elephant, so whenever he strikes someone, he has like an impact and it sends hundreds of people flying. We'll obviously have to see what they do with their chariot, the supply wagon as well. The Gondorian sword infantry trying just to smash through anywhere they can, but that is a very dense line of orcs. Another artillery volley coming in. That was a good hit right there. Definitely found home. Yeah, that's a really good hit. Another shot coming in. Yeah, these orcs really need to start shooting their shot already. It might be a possibility that if they could get around the side here to then volley into the back. I think that's maybe what they should be doing, because right now they don't really have a good shot on anyone. But I think if you were to put your archers like right here, they would be able to hit into the back of all this infantry, and that would probably be very, very important. So for them, yeah, oh wow, yeah, the orcs over on this side have completely broken out now, and the dwarfs are infantry-less. They have like 2 full units of infantry and then a couple rabble. So yeah, the orcs are taking the initiative now and advancing forward everything they have in reserve right now to try and push forward and cause the dwarfs some issues. Because if they could cut, oh, that'd be insane. If they could cut the Gondorians inside this pit, then they'd be able to completely surround them and bring them down. I think now, now we're starting to see the archers as well. They're shooting the Gondorians in the back, which is a very smart idea, because they're obviously going to be very vulnerable from the rear. Shooting Fountain Guard as well is always an important, because again, they're just such an expensive unit, such high armor value stats. So really nice moves there by the Mordor player to bring around their archers. And they're just doing so much damage. You can see they're thinning out the ranks. And the rest of the Orc army is now completely out. Yeah, killing these crossbows is going to be very important as well. Does seem like for the most part, they're probably going to end up breaking pretty soon. But yeah, focusing down like archers is, very, very valuable. We've got 2 more fresh units of infantry coming up. 1 orc warrior unit and 1 orc pike unit. I imagine that orc pike unit is going to be the focal point of all the crossbows for the dwarfs. Nice charge onto the dwarven pike, onto the dwarven swords, spears, axes. Man, how many more weapons are there in their roster? I had to get it right eventually. So yeah, they've committed a lot now. But yeah, these crossbows are still going to be doing... I mean, I wonder how many kills these crossbows are on now. 300 kills, 200 kills, almost 400, 200, 250. Yeah, as them crossbows are filthy. And they still have ammunition left as well, which is what's even more disgusting.
The enemy is going for our general. Protect him.
What general is that? Is that the dwarven general? Yeah, it is indeed. A little bit of arrow fire on him. Obviously, him in that Grim Hammer unit. I mean, it makes the dwarven general so strong that he's in this Grim Hammer unit. I mean, it makes him very vulnerable to missile fire, but I've racked... Oh, that orc head rolling along the ground there as well. I've racked up multiple, 300, 400, 500 kills with this dwarven general unit, which is I love. I love that the dwarven general units are just like so impactful in the battle. They really do rack up, some kills. If you can get, like, that's the main problem with them, right? It's just getting them into combat is the hardest part. But when you do, they're basically unmatched on the battlefield. Besides like a frontal or rear cavalry charge, they can basically withstand anything. So we're getting some crossbows moving around the flanks. Probably going to be shooting these orc pikes in the back, or maybe going after the archers. We'll have to see what the players do decide to do. But it seems like the orc camp has been completely beaten now, with only like a handful of archers still left remaining. Oh, also as well, I'm not sure if I've mentioned this in the video yet, but there's a few more troll animations as well on the Discord. The Rise of Mordor Discord, they've shown a couple more walking animations, as well as I think 4 death animations, or 4 stages of the death animation as well. So that's pretty cool that they're still actively working on the trolls, because I think once they could get trolls into this mod, it'll start to take it to a whole nother level. If they're like decent trolls with good animations, then it's gonna be great. And I think what they've said they want to do is they want to try and make them a bit more like elephants. So that the elephants have that huge impact, which I think is obviously definitely the way to go. I'm just not sure how easy that's to do in Attila. I'm sure it's not, I'm sure it's not impossible, but it's just going to take them a lot of work to do, which is kind of the story of Attila modding. More arrow fire coming in, and we're actually getting a big break of the Gondorians right now. Even though the balance of power is very much in their favour, they're still outnumbered 2-1. And with their lines breaking, it seems like they're going to be able to push forward here. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do, because is Sauron going to advance forward his legions? Because there's mainly just crossbows out here. We're going to see how, we're going to have to see how this one does play out. I mean, it's not like the Gondorians are completely broken, but they are having to fall back now, and the artillery is going to be moving in. Yeah, immediately looking to just clobber this Erebor crossbow unit.
Our allies' general is dead.
Yeah, allied general? That's not Sauron, right? No, it's allied general, sorry, yeah. So that's the Gondorian general, right? Yeah. Sauron is still very much alive. Or is that Aragorn? No, that's Aragorn. Aragorn has been smashed. Don't know if I can try and find him here. I can't really see him. Oh, there he is. No, that's not him. Yeah, I don't know where he is. It's going to be around here somewhere, but it looks like Sauron has brought him down. His Narsil being reforged obviously was not enough. Is his sword Anduin? Flame of the West, right? It's clearly not enough. I'll try and find him once again, just a quick scan. But he kind of blends in pretty nicely with the Swan Knights. We don't exactly have the best lighting either. Man. Aragorn fought bravely, though. He led the forces to a pretty nice advance, but now it seems like it's up to the dwarves to cave in the evil in Mordor. It's going to be a hard fight, and I mean, this could be Mordor's big undoing. They are advancing forward, looking to break out of this choke point. They've got their archers here focusing down the artillery, setting it ablaze, which is always something which is very important to do if their artillery ever gets in range, because you can basically destroy the artillery, the actual catapults themselves with fire arrows with like one volley. Hearing of this massacre though, the Dwarven general is going to charge in. Oh, look at Sauron coming in as well. Yeah, it'd be so cool if Sauron did act like an elephant. But man, it'd be so great, you know, just swinging that and sending like 3 or 4 guys going. And I imagine, yeah, like, you know, elephants have a lot of HP as well, so, you know, you can just do them like that. It'd be really cool. It'd be really, really cool. Because you in Attila and Rome, you can have generals on elephants as well, so it could definitely work. It's definitely feasible. I mean, I don't know a lot about modding, but I'm assuming it's definitely possible. There's the rest of the Dwarven army over here yet. I mean, they are still fighting some other infantry. I mean, they are also fighting Uruk archers, which can kind of hold their own in melee combat. I mean, they are just fighting arrowbow crossbows, so we've kind of got like a... each other just hitting one another with like a foam sword over on this left-hand side, because neither party really... neither one of these are super highly skilled. And I think they might just like end up beating each other out. And there's crossbows over there. I mean, whoa, holy crap, what just happened there? The balance of power, I look away for like 2 minutes and I come back and the forces of good are getting annihilated right now. And the dwarves are up against it. They don't really have anything left. I mean, we are just in a choke point right now. So I imagine this final stand is not going to be that exciting unless they can break through. But these are elite dwarves. I mean, I imagine the dwarves might want to, you know, kind of try and form like a triangle like here. Could be quite useful for them to try and funnel the evil factions out, because, yeah, fighting in this close quarter, the forces of evil have so many reinforcements left remaining. There's even a couple Gondorians in here. The Sauron leading this charge. Man, the balance of power completely shifted. That Gondorian break was brutal, and I mean, things were looking very, very good for them, but now the orcs are just pushing forward with their glorious master and commander on the front lines with them. There is also a decent amount of reserves for them as well. You know, it's not like this is everything that they have left. They still have a handful of ranks that can still be committed. They also have another Uruk general unit as well. And the dwarves have brought over everything they can, bringing over some crossbows, which is good. Obviously, you know, any extra bolts they can fly into these units is going to be valuable. Yeah, these archers are just having an open day right now. They can just shoot at their heart's content and not have to worry too much. And this is also going to be a pretty important fight, because whatever side wins this the dwarves need every dwarf they can get. But if the forces of Mordor win this little kind of skirmish out here, they can bring, 50 archers, probably what would survive, and start shooting, some valuable units. And there you go, the Gondorians are completely broken. That is news that the Gondorians have abandoned the dwarves. Not abandoned, they have fought to their last breath and can no longer wield any sizable force in the battlefield. Sauron has only racked up 10 kills. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's kind of because like they have to match up with an enemy unit and like go through this entire animation and stuff. They definitely do feel janky. So if he could get them to like act like at least like Sauron and elephants and like Balrogs and stuff, you could definitely make them work. And maybe just like remove their, like just make it so that they don't actually have to lock up with anyone. They just like swing their weapon, kind of make it more like Warhammer. I think I'd rather them kind of, but would I? But I don't know. Maybe sticking them in a unit would be a good idea as well, like they do in Seven Kingdoms. What do you guys think? If you guys have any cool ideas on how you'd make this work, let me know in the comments down below. And obviously also go over to their Discord as well. Join their Discord and give them suggestions. So what is Sauron up to right now? He's going to be pulling back his forces? Yeah, it seems like Sauron's going to be pulling back his forces. Maybe to give the dwarfs a false sense of security. Maybe to try and let them in. I mean, this isn't a bad idea, right? Because if the dwarfs come in, now the archers can all shoot them. Yeah, so now it allows the archers to come in. Forces them to come forward onto this fresh unit of Uruk spears. It's going to be pretty deadly. And here we go. The dwarfs are just charging in. Making their last stand here. This fight is still going on. It does seem like the Erebor crossbowmen are going to win the day, though. 73 left in their unit. Yeah, they're going to win that one. But the dwarfs just no match for Sauron and his veteran orcs. And it's great to see that. It's great to see, you know, Mordor being a very competitive faction. Like, obviously it should. Being probably the most, you know, the most important faction in Lord of the Rings. At least in the Third Age, you know. And Sauron is up there leading them bravely forward. That's barbarians for you. I mean, I guess you could class the orcs as barbarians if you really wanted to. Also, guys, I guess whilst we're in a bit of a lull of the fighting, if you are interested in the Shogun 2 Lord of the Rings campaign set in the Second Age, I will be making a video about their campaign. They've released a few screenshots which I'll be showing off, and I'll be talking a little bit more about it. So if you guys want to check that one out, be sure to, you know, obviously stay subscribed to the channel. It should be up, you know, towards the end of this week. So definitely keep an eye on that, as I am keeping both eyes on it as often as I can spare them. But they're definitely making some really good progress with that Shogun 2 campaign. I can't wait to yeah, get my hands on it. The Dwarven numbers have been cold. I think they're below 300. They've got 400 dwarfs left remaining on the field of battle. I decided to skip ahead a little bit because it was just kind of very much the same fighting, which we would have had to watch for like 10 minutes. So I thought we'd just jump ahead to see how this one does turn out. But yeah, as you can see, the dwarfs have definitely lost now. There is pretty much no way they can win this one, and you can see their general is even fleeing. He's not going to be taking the honourable death. He is running away to, I guess, avoid the archer fire. The forces of Mordor have committed everything they have to this battle. I mean, and what a battle it was, you know. Look at the bodies kind of scattered out by the Black Gate. That is, you know, littering the fields of Mordor. Even this was an extremely bloody affair over at the Orc camp. But now we have the last brave dwarfs. Maybe a lone dwarf can be the man, or the dwarf, to defeat Sauron. All it takes is one clean swing. Because I believe Sauron does have the Ring of Power in this model. Maybe, I think you can maybe see it. I don't know. Oh, yeah, you can definitely see it. So Sauron at this point does have the Ring of Power right there. You can see it. But yeah, unfortunately, there is very little hope for these dwarfs. They're, you know, they're very few in number. And a lot of these units are crossbows as well, so I don't think there's as much real hope they can do. And there you go, big breaks right now. Yeah, huge breaks there. And with that, I think the forces of evil are going to just, you know, move back to Barad-dûr, realizing that victory is at hand and there is nothing that the dwarves can do to stop them. Yeah, there we have it. That's going to be the battle, I think. So the reason why the forces of Mordor do retreat is because the timer is about to hit 60 minutes. So if they had to actually kind of just end it with some cool scenario way of just like Sauron not giving an F anymore and just simply retreating back, being like, yeah, this is, yeah, the battle's been won. We're going to retreat back inside, and I imagine you're going to go back to your horrible mountains in the west. And Sauron is going to walk through these streets victorious as he defends his homeland, ready to launch another assault. I mean, look at that badass right there. I wonder how many kills he ended up racking up. Yeah, he's going to go back, go to his tower, and watch the Dwarven retreat as they fall back. But what a great battle that was. That was a really, really awesome engagement. I love these custom scenarios. Even though they can be quite long sometimes, as long as you guys enjoy them, then it's absolutely awesome. And obviously, I really, really appreciate the guys playing these battles. Without them, you know, you guys wouldn't be getting awesome content. So massive, massive shout out to them. So it ended as a draw, but definitely the Forces of Evil won that day. They had loads more men left remaining, and if the timer wasn't about to end the battle like it did just then, they would have easily won that day. So taking a look at the kills, you can see the Dwarven General over 200 kills, but this is going to be the main show. 600 kills, 500 kills. The crossbows, absolutely disgusting, with the archers as well, getting some pretty serious kills. Aragorn, 14 kills. Sauron beat him to 15. Maybe that 1 kill difference was Sauron slaying Aragorn, which is quite hilarious. Over on the Mordor side of things, you got some of their orc pillagers with 200 kills. Not too bad. No one really racking up, besides this unit, over 200 kills though, which is surprising. And then finally, over on the other Mordor side, we can see that their pike's doing a pretty decent job. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Be sure to drop a like and a comment if you want to see more Rise of Mordor on the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.